Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. A happy Sunday to everybody out there today. Here on the channel, I want to talk King of the Ring. I was going to do this video tomorrow and give everybody an extra day to watch it in case you didn't watch it live at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time yesterday, or if you have not watched the replay yet. But since tomorrow is a holiday, I have not yet decided whether or not I'm going to do a video tomorrow. So I figured I better go ahead and discuss King of the Ring today. But I'm hoping, since it was at 1 o'clock Eastern Time yesterday, that everybody has already watched it. As always, any thoughts on it, please feel free to let me know. We had 6 matches altogether, counting the pre-show. On the pre-show, we had Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill putting their women's tag team championships on the line against Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. And Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill retained the women's tag team championships. And then when the main show started at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, the opening match was Liv Morgan defeating Becky Lynch to become the new Women's World Champion. Now, we'll never know exactly when Liv was originally going to win the Women's World Championship because of Rhea Ripley's injury. So I don't really know if Liv was going to end up beating Rhea to become the champion, or if Rhea was going to drop the title to somebody else and then Liv get it from them. But Becky Lynch was originally going to take time off because of Seth Rollins taking time off, and they were gonna, spend time at home because Seth is looking like he's fixing to face a major surgery. But then when Rhea Ripley got hurt, Becky decided she would stay, and they gave her the championship just to make sure Liv was ready. And then Sami Zayn defeats Chad Gable and Bronson Reed to retain the Intercontinental Championship. Pretty much, you can sum that match up by saying, of course, it was a great match because Chad Gable was involved in it, but Chad Gable tried to get Otis involved. At first, Otis didn't want to get involved. Then he finally decides to get involved because Chad Gable is heckling him, wanting him to get involved. Otis goes to clothesline Sammy. Sammy moves. He clotheslines Chad Gable, and Sami Zayn retains the Intercontinental Championship. And then we had back-to-back matches with the Queen of the Ring and the King of the Ring. Nia Jax defeats Lyra Valkyria to become the Women's Queen of the Ring. And then Gunther defeats Randy Orton to become the King of the Ring. And Paul Levesque came out on Thursday and said that both the winners of those matches for the Queen of the Ring and the King of the Ring would get title shots at their respective championship on their show at SummerSlam. So, of course, Nia Jax is on SmackDown, so right now it's looking like she'll face Bayley, and of course Gunther is on Raw, so as of right now he would face Damian Priest. And then before the main event, Paul Levesque appeared on camera doing a backstage vignette. he says that Drew McIntyre has finally been medically cleared. So coming up at Clash at the Castle, which is the next premium live event on June 15th, Damian Priest will put his title on the line versus Drew McIntyre. So that will be the main event at Clash at the Castle. And then in the main event, Cody Rhodes defeats Logan Paul to retain the undisputed WWE Championship. And I tell you what, unfortunately, I've never met Logan Paul. And the reason why I say unfortunately is because he seems like he'd be an awesome guy. All the reports that I've read about him since he's been there say that he is very nice, very humble, very eager to learn, and listens to everybody's advice and wants to be the best wrestler that he can be. And that's saying something, because a lot of guys nowadays don't want to listen. They say they want to be the best, but then when you try to tell them something, they get their feelings hurt and they tuck their tail between their legs and go home. So for Logan Paul to be brand new to the business and know nothing about it, but being willing to sit back and listen and learn, is saying something. And he's taken to wrestling like a monkey to a banana, like a fish to water, like a pig to slop. Because he's only had, 10 matches, 11 matches. But if you didn't know any better, when you watched him wrestle, you think he's been around 15 years. He was just born to be a wrestler. Now, a lot of folks don't like him because of his YouTube page. I don't think people understand that most people that have a YouTube page, I'm not one. I'm the same in person as I am on here. But most people that have a YouTube page, they use a different personality. They use a character. What you see behind the camera, behind the phone, is not what you see in real life. And too many people think that how somebody is on YouTube is how they are in real life, and that's not so. So I think since Logan Paul comes across as a douchebag on his YouTube channel, everybody thinks he's a douchebag in real life. I don't think he is. But whether he is or not doesn't matter. He is fun to watch in a wrestling ring. And if they're smart, one day he will be a world champion. He's definitely good enough. But Gunther is the men's king of the ring, and Nia Jax is the women's queen of the ring. Gunther is now the king general, which is fine, because if you're an old school, long time wrestling fan and you watch Gunther wrestle, he will remind you of Johnny Valentine from back in the day. Johnny Valentine, of course, is the father of Greg the Hammer Valentine, and we know how long ago Greg the Hammer Valentine wrestled, so you know I'm going a long way back with Johnny Valentine. But when Gunther wrestles, every move he does has a purpose. Everything he does has meaning. Everything he does tells a story, and that's the way wrestling used to be, and the way wrestling should still be. And I'm so glad they have an old school wrestler that is now wrestling in the modern era, because you watch him wrestle, it will remind you of 50s and 60s and 70s wrestling, and I, for one, love that. Any thoughts on this, please feel free, as always, to let me know. And if I do not do a video tomorrow, have a wonderful and safe Memorial Day. I know most people are off tomorrow. There's a lot of people that are off the entire week. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. Have you ever thought about this? It has to suck for a duck, because even though ducks don't have payments, they still have a bill. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, Life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.